A few years had passed since Sid spoke with the priest. The number of Havet's victims continued to multiply drastically. Then one day, someone from within the church came across evidence exposing the collusion between the government, Haves, and the Board of Science. That was the clincher. A fissure formed in the long-standing relationship of the church and government, leading to an agreement between Zavitz and the church. This is nice music, by the way. It's like very... It's cool. Cool, I like it. Anyways, the energy industry versus the government versus the church. The level of discord among the three parties was truly unprecedented. In the midst of all that, Rudo was immersed in his studies daily, both in the academy and at home, in preparation for becoming Zavitz Enterprises' next president. Just like his father, he also had a strong interest in mana, and didn't have any difficulty studying. Rudo simply loved to learn. I remember him often telling Eileen that he was bored by the lessons at the academy. However, Rudo, intelligent as he is, had one big concern: his little sister, Rune. At the time, Rune had behavioral issues. She had always had a frown on her face, and the only time she ever smiled was when people got hurt. Everything she did had some trace of malintent to it. Whatever her actions were, they were always to cause people problems. One day, Rune finally did something that put the final nail on the coffin. Rune stabbed the Grockwild's family's son. Grockwild's family's son's eye with a stick, causing him to lose it. What voice did I give Elvis again? It's been a week since I last recorded this. What incident with Grockwild? What a mess. I think that was it. I should really listen to my own content more. No kidding. Is that Sid? I don't remember. What caused Rune to do that? Was she not satisfied with something? I don't know. Eileen, she's just heartbroken. On the outside, she puts a smile on and says she's fine, but she's starving herself, and her body is just... That's terrible. I feel sorry for Rudo as well. I hope he isn't getting shamed or mistreated in school. This might be a good opportunity for him. Maybe it's about time. Age-wise too sounds about right. He's lost in his own thoughts, huh? After the Grockwild's incident, Rudo had to stop attending school. The reason was never said out loud, but it was obvious. Rudo was just around 10 years old when he began to work as a trainee in Zavitz. He studied daily in Lab 9, said to be the very best in the industry for producing top researchers, and started becoming more and more introverted. Now that I think about it, it must have been tough for him. As a child, Rudo was someone lacking in imagination. To be blunt, he wasn't fit to be a researcher. Both I and the other members of the lab thought so. Rudo truly had a talent for learning. However, he had difficulties coming up with anything new that was outside of what was taught to him. They were expecting him to have an eccentric imagination, just as Sid did when he was young. But unfortunately, it was all for naught. On the other hand, he was very careful not to offend people with his words or actions, and was very considerate of others. Rudo was skilled in reading other people's emotions. As time passed, everyone around him slowly came to see him as someone who couldn't succeed Sid. A few years after Rudo began working in Lab 9, Rune's house arrest, the consequence of the Grockwild's incident, was lifted. Music changed. Rune was often brought by her home tutor to visit the lab. As time passed, it became clear that Rudo was said to be a prodigy in his aptitude for learning. Rune greatly exceeded his capabilities. Just a few months after Rune started to take trips in Lab 9, she was able to answer the unsolvable battery problems that had been plaguing the sisters' machines for years. Everyone was speechless. It was then that I saw the glimpse of Sid's inventiveness and creativity. No, she trivially solved a problem that Sid himself couldn't. Probably everyone in the lab thought that she would surpass Sid as a researcher someday. Rudo began to slowly lose confidence in himself. Can we get back to the main plot? Even after things calmed down from the Grockwild's incident and he began to get along with Rudo was lost and didn't know what to do. It was written all over his face. Like, this is all very interesting backstory. Just, come on. Eventually, Rudo only did administrative work in the lab. It seemed to have dawned on him that he couldn't compete with Rune. And even then, Rune joined in the administrative work just as an assistant and took his job away from him. She's a psychopath, yes. We've already established that. Sometimes it looked as if Rune was deliberately driving Rudo up the wall psychologically. That's literally what she was doing. Literally, figuratively, what she was doing. There's a slight air of hostility to it. No, hostility isn't the right word. There didn't seem to be any motive to it. From an outsider's perspective, it was just a little sister helping out her older brother. Nothing more. Whether it was intentional or not, a normal person wouldn't have noticed. One day, Sid came to me for advice. Look, I'm not going against sending her off to school, but I just don't see the point. I've heard you already, Sid. I want to hear what Elvis has to say about the matter. Hey, Elvis, what do you think? Could I have your honest opinion? She wouldn't go to school, or... I don't see any problem with that. 6 whole years of assistance with the growls, boy. It's not the point. She's been studying Lab 9 all this time. What do you expect her to pick up at school? I think it's a waste of time. Now referring to her studies, we need to introduce her to society. She doesn't even have anyone her age that she can call friend. We need to at least try to let her live a normal life. Just who exactly determines what's normal and what isn't? I agree with Elvis. Rather than holding her up in that dimly lit laboratory, I'd rather she live and behave more like the young lady she is. Pretty surprising to hear that from you, Elaine, considering how insistent you were about her education. Well, of course she has to maintain her studies. However, I think we're pushing Rune far too hard in that direction. She may look perfectly comfortable with how she is now, but I think she needs time to interact with other children her age as well. You really don't share that opinion, Sid? If you ask me for my personal opinion, I don't think people skills are all that they're cracked up to be. If she keeps at that work, then she's going to end up picking them up, whether she likes it or not. I swear, why is this man just so... Sid, you really should think about your abilities a little more. Your standards are well and far removed from what is considered as normal. Well, all that aside, I found decisions to let Rune choose what she wants to do. I don't plan to rob her of her ability to choose. She's got the right to. I knew it. Do you agree with him then, Albus? I do. Considering Rune's age, it really should be the both of you making the final decision. But certainly agree with respecting her opinion as well. Well, I'll go have Rune undergo a physical examination. I'll let the hospital know too. Thank you, Albus, really. I hope Rune appreciates the sentiment. It was a few weeks after that, just before Rune was to be enrolled in academy, she had a physical exam done in the lab. Using the MRI device, we already saw all of this. Yes, you examined the brain. What the? Is the machine malfunctioning? Who the hell is this guy? No, that's impossible. We just conducted maintenance on it yesterday. It's calibrated just right too. Can't be a problem with the machine. Why are there so many more people? Elvis, these are Rune scans, right? Is this even possible? This means that she can't feel any emotion. That's absurd. A human like this couldn't exist. Except they exist in real life too. Don't tell anyone about this, Nivjus Volthal. Lean's in a especially insensitive time right now. When the time is right, I'll tell Sid in advance. The portion of Rune's brain which controls humans. What does this have to do with anything? This game started off with the kingdom getting invaded and using magic to fight. What does this have to do with anything that's going on? She can't feel emotion. What exactly this means none of the members of the lab nor I knew at the time. While considering Rune's name, we asked other staff in the Medica, but not a single person even knew of the condition. But it was obvious that something was wrong. MRI itself was still new, young technology. However, the very first person to respond to this was Rudo. Rudo clearly knew something that we didn't. It was a few months after Rune was admitted to the academy when he revealed it to us. What's this book? Lie spotting. It's a book about the psychological nature of lies and how to detect them. Oh, Elvis. Good evening, Rudo. I have to talk to you. What's the matter? Rude's story came out of nowhere. Rune's killing small animals and park nearby. Honestly, it sounds so absurd that I couldn't believe what he told us. Ever since the crocodiles incident, Rune had grown to be a good girl. Deep in my heart, I harbored a small doubt. What if Rude was using that brain scan's pretense so he could get revenge on Rune? He had more than enough reason and motive to do so. Against a gentle Rune, Rudo must have felt desperate given their positions. I don't expect you to believe it, though. How do I even react? Have you told Sid in line? No, well, not directly. I kind of played it off saying that Rune might be up to something bad again. If I didn't, I'm sure Mom would get hurt again. I see. Yeah, it's the only other person I can talk to about is you, Elvis. Sorry, Rube, but I think the only thing you can do for now is keep an eye on the situation. If I could do anything to help, I'd be more than happy to. But right now, even if everything told me is true, it's still not justification to take action right now. If I brought up talk saying that I heard everything from you, if they decide to ignore it, then that would be the end of it. Ugh. You're right. By the way, what is this book for? Is this for taking measures against Rune? Yes. Rune, do you think Rune is a chronic liar? I'm not sure. But Rune displays far too many tendencies that are described in that book. Such as? For example, people who lie habitually are very capricious by nature. They hate staying in a single place. Once they get bored with things, they head elsewhere. Now that you mention it, she did say she wanted to see the outside world. It's not just that. They're always smiling, but throwing their mouth in the smile while their eyes remain expressionless. Whenever you talk with them, they end up looking at you straight in the eye too much. There are a lot of people in and around town who haven't accepted Rune. When I asked them exactly why, they told me they couldn't on a biological level. I think it's an instinctive repulsion to her behavior. Even if the person in question is an adult or child, when they have something that feels foreign to us, then they become the target of fear and alienation. I think Rune already knows that she's causing people to feel disgusted at her and is intentionally behaving that way. More than that, Rudo, I'm sure Rune is planning something. She's building up her now so she can trick us. There's got to be something she's planned, something much worse than the crocodiles incident. Well, hey, just a moment there, Rudo. Aren't you jumping to conclusions here? She's been such a good girl this whole time. Now, I'm not going to completely ignore what you're saying, but as an adult, I have the obligation to look at everything fairly and impartially. I'm sorry. I may have said too much. I wasn't exaggerating. Even now, I still remember that conversation clear as day. I paid no attention to Rudo's warning. That was the greatest mistake I'd ever made in my entire life. Can we just fast forward? A few weeks later, the line collapsed, and several days after that, 12 of the top brass from Zevet's business partners all died from process 1 poisoning. Rune disappears from the mansion. Another few days after that, a transport ship arrives at the outer pole. Rune's body is found on board. Weeks after that, Aline breathes her last while in Zevet's Medica. Those events constantly play themselves back in my mind over and over and over. From that point forward, Zevet's began to collapse in on itself. Sid, having faced no greater calamity than this, was broken. Even though he had endured all the trials and difficulties of his past, Sid just completely broke down. He wouldn't even listen to me or Rudo. His work at the company went practically untouched. Instead, he holed himself up inside Lab 9 and barred anyone else entry. It was on one of these days. It was just as the Sisters project was approaching completion. In the end, the church refused to make use of the Sisters, but the frames that were built were repurposed to work in the mana mines instead. During a meeting to discuss whether the Sisters were to be deployed, Sid suddenly showed up. What? You want us to pay for the Sisters for their work? That's right. I want their serfs compensated. What brought this on? Why? We're just barely scraping by as is. Why should we pay machines of all things? Huh? Because that's an order. Anyone who objects is fired. End of story. Which one was Nitschik again? Sir Sid, are you serious, sir? Well, you guys deal with that then. Oh, wait a minute, Sid. This is an abuse of power. Just tell us why. We'll listen to... Why the hell do I have to explain every single damn thing I have to say? Even if I took the time to explain it, you're all just a bunch of idiots who won't understand, so I don't even bother. All you need to do is just follow what I say like the servants you are. What is the matter with you, Sid? If all these people were here with you, Zavitz might as well never existed. Who's the one who holds the power? Me! I don't need to take any smack from people without any vision. What the hell? You just abandoned your job like that. Do you have any idea how deep in danger the company is right now? What'd you say, boy? With your damn eyes, you see now, old man. Your job as CEO of this company is to reassure everyone working here. Did you forget that? What the hell happened to your sense of right and wrong? Your morals? Were you this weak that you can't even stick to them? Now that your wife is gone? You're sure spouting some pretty big words for someone who's even half a man, eh, Rudo? Get a grip, Dad! Dad made their voices too similar. With how things are right now, I don't need damn sympathy from the likes of you, frickin' kid. Y'all can pretend to run the company for all I care. But this is my company. I built it from the ground up. And I can raise it to the ground if I damn well please. Now you better follow my orders. Anyone who gets in the way of my research... Sir! He's vomiting blood. Hey, Sid, are you alright? Don't touch me. Ugh. Sir Sid. Ha. Damn it. Cool. He's sick. That night I was called by Rudo. Elvis. Just who exactly is Rudo Zavitz? Again? This morning when I looked in the mirror, I saw a man I didn't even know. That man didn't have a shred of sadness in him when his little sister passed away. In fact, I'm still feeling nothing but relief. Rudo. My little sister should have never been born. She should have just hit her head against something and died when she was young. Now I'm finally free. Such were the man's sad, heartless thoughts. Now, Albus. Is a Rudo Zavitz you know the kind of young man that would harbor those thoughts? Was he a person with such a warped heart that he would instead rejoice in his sister's death, rather than mourn it? However, there is still something I owe my gratitude to that thing for. The devil in disguise taught me one thing and one thing only. That people are always controlled by their emotions. In this era, what we need are logic and rationality. The only people who have the right to talk about emotions or sympathy are those who have thoroughly pursued logic and rationality. My father was unable to do that. He's a weak man who tried to devote himself to some sorry excuse for philanthropy, but couldn't even follow through all the way. Rudo. There are far too many barriers in this world. Sid Zavitz has been taken over by madness. His time is over. From now on, I shall lead Zavitz. I have the power to. That day, the dam that had been holding Rudo back finally broke. His growth since then was incredible. That kind, warm Rudo was nowhere to be found. He had truly changed as a person. Although he was just mediocre in terms of research, his track record in management easily dwarfed Sid's. Rudo put forth an avant-garde plan to save Zavitz. In order to deal with the mass murder that Rune committed, he established the corporate system. By taking in outside investors as members of the company's board of directors, he succeeded in changing the company's image from a family business to a corporation. Rudo, I was... Rudo, why wasn't I prepared to see here? Well, now, he certainly has prepared, Mr. Crocodiles. So I demand for one, that's why. Don't tell me you forgot what your sister has done. Thanks to that girl, I lost my family and my life has been ruined. Your father seems to understand circumstances, but what about you? Blackmail. Don't tell me that just because you've taken his place, you consider the past all water under the bridge to you. Blackmail. For the love of the father, it's gone completely insane. The son freely abuses his position. The daughter is a damn murderer. Just what is wrong with your family? Blackmail. This hurts my throat.
I've been working in this kind for 10 years. And you don't treat me accordingly, you better watch out, you little punk.
Rockwells, did you just... I see. If I don't treat you accordingly, I'd better watch out, is it? My. You sure have quite a head on those shoulders.
What you little kid, just try saying that again.
Mr. Grogwiles, do you understand the situation you're in? Right now, you're dancing on the stage, front and center. Listen, to this company, you are nothing but a persistent little stain on a glass window. Leaving you on or wiping you off. There is no real difference. However, the more it stands out, the more of an eyesore it becomes. Don't worry, Mr. Grogwiles. No need to flounder about like that. Have you gotten remuneration? Have you gotten remunerations for both your one-eyed son and your wife? You can truly consider yourself a success in life. You can relax and let that fat belly of yours hang out as you enjoy your life to the fullest.
Why, you son of a...
If some talentless burden like you even thinks of trying something, how have you swept out like the garbage that you are?
Well, why you? Who do you think you are, you son of a bitch? I don't take a bitch from a little shit like you, son of a bitch. I don't think I'm going to take this line down, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to whittle you down to your goddamn bones, mark my words.